Assalamu alaikum. Good morning and good evening. We are going today to discuss or talk about Module 6, News and Media. News and media is something that everybody, students, people around the world, deal with because it is important for them. What do we mean by news? News that is something we hear or watch on TV in the evening, in the morning. Everybody is interested to know the news, whether they are political news or any other news. Media, as they call it, وسائل الإعلام. وسائل الإعلام, they are very important. We have newspapers, we have radio, we have TV, we have everybody, and of course now we have the forms of communication between people, or as they call it, Facebook. Now, part A, language, we use ing or ed adjectives. Now, ed, ing or ed adjectives, these are verbs that end with ing or ed. Ed adjectives, ed is part that ends most regular verbs, then end with ed. But other irregular verbs, these are verbs. But adjectives, they are different. Now, the ing adjectives, like when we say something is interesting, something is boring. As a result of that, I was bored or I was interested. Now, what do we have in the first slide? We have vocabulary and listening. The people, as we see them on this screen, they are talking to other people on TV. Now, what do we have? We have here number one, number two. Below is a list of things we can watch on television if necessary. Check the meaning of the words and the phrases in bold in your mini dictionary, then mark them as follows. Now, the word bold, as we know, means something that is extra printed or very clear. Why? Because it is written or bold. Sometimes we do that, we underline the words to recognize them or to know where they are or which words. Now, the first one, if you think there are too many of these on television in your country, what is the word? Number two, if you think there should be more of these. Number C, if you don't have these in your country at all. So what are these? Now, the other one, advertisements that use attractive people to sell products like cars or perfume, especially for women, girls, ladies. Uh, governments, government advertising campaign against things like drink driving. These are because they are dangerous. Number C, programs with live short coverage. D, children's programs which include violence, sorry. E, long complicated murderer mysteries or thrills. F, interviews with politicians. G, chat shows. H, game shows. I, soap operas. Now, what are underline? What is it? Underline. What are the words that mean this? Now, annoyed, annoying. Interested, interesting, interested. Boring, bored. Worrying, worried. Shocking, shocked. Upset, upsetting. Confused, confusing. So, what are the words that we have to mark? Or next to the words that programs, for example, with live sport coverage, what do we call that? So we have to underline or mark the word. Now we move from page 58 to page 50, page 60. Now we have the ing or ed adjectives. As I said before, ing are usually verbs that we use in the present or past continuous. Ed are the past simple or verbs. But here, because they describe people or how they feel, they are used as adjectives. Although they are, when somebody hears ing or ed, he thinks right away that they are verbs. Now, as we see analysis, look at the picture opposite. Which adjective below would you use to describe what? The man, the news, depressed, depressing. Now, when we want to describe somebody, we use the ing, something that causes you to feel something like this: interesting, interested. If you are somebody is interesting or the program is interesting, yeah, this means that he is or she it is the cause. When somebody is or something is boring, it is the cause. As a result of that, you are or we are bored. The effect goes back to you. Now it says here in the picture, in practice, if necessary, check the meaning and pronunciation of the adjectives if in the box. In your mini dictionary, can you think of more adjectives like these? What are the adjectives? Embarrassed, embarrassing. Now, how do we say that I was embarrassed? When something happens to you and you don't know what to do or how to do things, and people or students or anybody is looking at you and you don't know what to say or what to do, this means that you are embarrassed. And as a result, the situation is embarrassing. And sometimes when we receive guests suddenly without an appointment, without a notice, we feel embarrassed because we didn't do. Now, when somebody says or to us or does something to us and we don't know how to thank him or we did not expect that, we say we were surprised. Why? Because the situation was surprising. What do we mean by surprising? It means that he did or she did that without prior notice. So some people say, I want to give you or to make you a surprise. Somebody says, what is the surprise? I say, I don't know. I don't want to tell you because if I tell you what is it, then it is no longer a surprise. Now, in exercise, yes. Number two, when do we use an ed or ing, and when do we use ing adjectives? As I told you, ing it means when we use the ing adjective, it means the source, like embarrassing, boring, interesting, horrifying, etc., encouraging. Now, as a result of this, so the person he says, I was embarrassed, I was shocked, I was. Why? The effect goes back to the person himself. Now, exercise 2, what does it say? It says, choose the correct alternative in the following sentences. Now, the following sentences, number A, what number A? Divide. Did you see that documentary about political corruption last night? Why is he asking? Because he wants to know. It was a really interesting or it was a really interested or interesting program. I was quite shocked or shocking. Now, when he says, if it was, did you see that documentary about political corruption last night? The person is asking. The answer if it was a really interesting, interested or interesting. Now the subject is about what? He is asking about the political program. Now the political program, can it be interested? It can't. Why? Because it is a thing. Who is usually interested is the person who is listening. Like we say, we are interested. Why did you come here? So, because I was interested in a certain program or in a certain subject. So the person or the human being or the person is interested. Why? In something which is interesting. It's nature. So most people are interested in watching television and watching and dealing with the news. Why? Because they are interesting. So it is the source of the action. Um, Number B, the president said in the news that he was very pleased or pleasing with the country's economic progress. Now, the country's economic progress is something like a program. It pleases or it is pleasing to whom? To the president. So the president was what? Said in the news that he was pleased, not he was pleasing, because he is not the source of the thing. The economic situation is the source or the subject. But I found what some of what he said were very worrying or worried or worrying. Now, how can the some of what he said, what is it? Subject, yeah, is worrying. Why? Not the president is worried. The president, if I said the president, he would be worried. But some of what he said is something. So what is it? What do we say about it? It is worrying. Why it is worrying? Because it is the source of the action or the information in the future or the cause of worrying. Number C, there was a really excited or exciting basketball match on television last night. I was a bit disappointed or disappointing that that my team lost though. Now, and again, what makes somebody disappointed? So hearing something not bad, not good, not encouraging. Like if we say that the prices of oil will be increased, this is something disappointing. And people, what do they, especially the owners of of cars, are disappointed. Why? Because they expected that or they expected that there will be a decrease, not increase in the prices. So this is the source of the information. It is disappointing because it is the source. And the people, when they hear that they become disappointed. Like they watch television or they watch their football team. If their football team loses the match, then they are disappointed. Why? Because the performance of the team is disappointing for the people who encourage. Like people, when their sons or daughters pass and get high grades in the exam, they are very happy about that, about the performance of their children. They are happy. They are because the news is pleasing. Why? Because their sons or daughters they are marks, and as a result, they are pleased with the results. Like when we hear that the government would decrease the prices, we say that this is encouraging to make, because it is the action of the government some wants to decrease. And as a result, people become encouraged to produce. Like when the students hear that the university will increase the marks or do something, this is encouraging or pleasing, and as a result of this pleasing, they are pleased or encouraged to work hard. there was a really excited or exciting basketball match on television last night. Now, the nature of the basketball or any ball or match, it to make the people who go there to see that or to watch that match, they go there to watch it. And when their team gains or wins, it becomes encouraging or uh, it becomes encouraging. So they say there was a really excited or exciting basketball. The basketball was exciting, and the people who watched it or saw it, they were excited because of what they saw on television last night. I was a bit disappointed or disappointing that my team lost though. Now, so the performance of the team is encouraging or discouraging, and as a result, the people who support that team, they become encouraged or discouraged as people, as we said, because the result goes back to them. I know that people are always interested or interesting in famous. I know that people are always interested or interesting in famous people's private lives. يعني they want to know more about their life, especially famous people like singers, etc. They want to know more about their personal lives or private lives. Why? Because it is usually secret, their life. If somebody asks them, they usually don't answer. Or if they want somebody asks them about their telephone number, they usually refuse to give it because this is something private. I know that people are always interested or interested in famous people's private lives, but I don't think some of the personal questions they ask on some of the personal questions they ask on that shows can be a bit embarrassed or embarrassing for the guest. Now, how can the news be the game? How can the questions be embarrassed? The questions are not something to recognize, or they are. It is inhuman. Who is embarrassed? Usually, people who have feelings. But how can the program itself as a program be embarrassed? It is embarrassing. It is the source of embarrassment. But it is not embarrassed as a program. It is embarrassing because it causes uh, embarrassment for people who watch it or who do it. So if you hear something that is not good, this means that can become disgusted or angry, disgusted. Why? Because you heard or something that is disgusting. Why disgust is disgusting? Because you don't like it or you don't want to hear it. 3, for example, you switch the television on to watch what your favorite soap opera and discover there is a football match instead of the football match. You find that there is a soap opera and discuss. and you find out that there is for a chat show on the TV instead with your. Now, um, you suddenly see a friend or colleague on television. What do you say? You say this is surprising. Why? Because what you didn't expect to that. Usually people like to do surprises to others. Why? Yeah, means they tell them something that they didn't expect. Like when they want to give them information about holiday, about increase in salary, and so on, which is not expected. They become surprised. Why? Because the news they heard is surprising because it is the source of the surprise. Now, number D, you watch news and you watch a news item about famine in a third world country. Now, reading, make a list of 5 common topics for newspaper stories which we read every day. Then discuss the following questions in ing groups. Which types of news are which types of news or news stories do you find most interesting, most worrying, most annoying? How often do you think most